And we are back in the studio here. I'm pleased to be joined by four people. We're going to be talking a little bit about the Rotary Youth Exchange Program through the Rotary Club here in Sun Prairie. And I'm pleased to be joined by Toni Pabon, who is the Rotary Youth Exchange Officer, Debbie Fox-Schroeder, who is an outbound parent. We'll explain what that means in a minute. Samara Eisner, who is a current host parent and past Rotary Exchange student, and Bence Toth, who is a Rotary Exchange student from Hungary. Thank you all for being here this morning.
Thank you for having us.
And we're recording this time, so that makes it even better. Toni, I'm going to start with you, if you don't mind. Can you describe a little bit about what the Rotary Youth Exchange Program is, how long it's been around, what it does? Just give us the whole 30,000 feet view, if you don't mind.
So Rotary Youth Exchange is a Rotary International recognized program, and it's been around internationally since the beginning. It started in the early 1920s, and it's been around for a very long time. Sun Prairie's been doing it for probably 30 plus years or so. And it is a program for high school students ages 15 and a half to 18 and a half. And it is a study abroad program where kids can go out and spend a year at another country and go to school, high school. And we also take students in from other countries, and they come and stay here in Sun Prairie, go to high school for about a year. And each student that comes here has 3 host families, and they stay with each host family about 3 to 4 months. And they usually arrive here in August and go home sometime in July.
So, and we were talking a little bit before we went on mic, Toni, that it is part of the experience that you want to send the students to 3 different families, correct?
Yes, we like to have the student have as much exposure to American family life, and each family unit is a different culture in itself. So having 3 families gives them a broad experience on what it is like to have or to be living here in America.
So how closely do you need to work with the school district to work with this program to make this program successful?
The school district is actually very easy to work with. In the past, we just basically have to get approval that they will accept an exchange student, because it's a student coming in that's not, we're not paying the school to have them. They take them in. And some Prairie schools have been doing a really good job of bringing exchange kids in from not just Rotary, but other programs as well. And since we have the two high schools, we rotate now back and forth between East and West. So last year, our exchange student went to West. This year, our exchange student, Bence, is going to East. And so next year, we'll go back to West. So we're going to rotate every other year between the 2 schools. But they're pretty easy. They usually give us approval with no problem that they'll take a Rotary exchange student, and then we just have to give them the appropriate paperwork that they're looking for, passports, immunizations, school records from the student that's coming in.
And is it 1 student per year that the Rotary works with? Yes,
we only do 1 student per year.
And is it one outbound student as well?
We could take as many outbounds as there is. The outbound side is not as very active as the inbound side. Every year we bring in an inbound student. On the outbound side, we had Anna Schroeder. She went out last year to Germany, and Debbie will talk about that a little bit. That she was our first Sun Prairie student in a very, very long time. So, but we can take as many outbound students.
So Debbie, your daughter was involved in this program as an outbound student. So she went where?
She went to Mannheim, Germany, and lived there for a year.
Okay.
Her interest in going was surrounded basically by the fact that we had hosted 2 young ladies in the past, one from Germany and one from Chile. And then the young lady who lived with us, her name was Miriam. She lived with us for 4 months and 2 other families here in Sun Prairie. And she invited us to her wedding in 2018.
Oh, well, very nice.
And so as a family, we went, my husband, Anna, and I, and when we got there, it's like having an extended family. It's really very cool. And when we got there, Miriam had 2 sisters. both of them were also youth exchange students through the Rotary program as well. And one went to New York and one went to Texas. So they got talking to Anna about that in 2018, and that really piqued her interest in wanting to go abroad and wanting to have that same experience that they had. And she knew how much fun it was to have Miriam stay with us, and so she really wanted to have that experience as well. And based on her age and a number of other factors, it just really worked out well for her. And we've seen just a lot of maturity in her, a lot more self-confidence, and for the, it does cost to send the students out, but the experience that they have is worth more than 5 years of school. It's just,
Okay.
you just can't, you can't even measure it. And I know Samara will talk more about that because she was a youth exchange student herself, but Anna had an absolutely awesome time. So if students are interested, I would highly encourage it. I think it's just an awesome program.
So Anna was in Germany for basically her senior year of high school?
Well, hers was a little unique. She actually graduated from high school when she was 17 and a half.
Oh,
so
okay.
she was still eligible for the program. So we called it her gap year. When she was a senior, she applied to the UW-Madison. And was accepted, decided she wanted to do this program, and the University of Madison let her defer for a year. So
Nice.
Coming back to school was all set, all ready to go when she actually returned in July, and then turned around in August, went to UW-Madison. So it worked out really well.
And for anybody that doesn't know, the Rotary is an international organization. So when you sent Anna, or when Anna went over to Germany, you worked with a chapter of the Rotary Club over there, obviously.
Correct. Yes. Even here in Wisconsin, we have a group of Rotarians who really focus on the youth exchange coming in and going out, and it's called Central States. So you always have those contacts, plus you have contacts in the other districts in Germany and in the other clubs in the other countries. So it's a very well-run program. So the year that COVID hit, we were able to get all of the students home where they needed to go that were here in Wisconsin, and we were able to get our students home from the other countries, and it really worked pretty seamlessly. It's a very well-run organization.
And I should also mention Rotary Youth Exchange, and pretty much Rotary in general, is all volunteer. We don't get paid. I don't get paid to manage this program in Sun Prairie. I do it as a volunteer job. And it's the same throughout the world. So when Anna went to Germany, all the folks that helped her with her exchange there were all volunteers.
Okay.
And because of that, we are the most affordable exchange program that there is. I think our cost this year to go out is under $7,000 for a full year exchange experience. And that includes airfare, insurance, and a bunch of other things.
Okay.
And that's much less than if you were to go with a paid program like an AFS or something else.
So before we go any further, I'm going to get Samara and Bence. I'm going to get to you in a second. The Rotary Club is actively looking for host families for, I believe, December through March and then April through July, correct, Toni?
Yes.
Okay. And what sort of qualifications are you looking for in a host family? What does it cost? Although I think you just covered that.
Host families, for host family, we're looking for, it could be any family dynamic. It could be a single parent. It could be two adults without kids. It could be a normal family that has like two parents and kids.
Sure.
They don't necessarily have to have a high school student. We are looking for Bence for someone that lives in the East School District, just because he's at East right now.
Right.
We've had a range of different host family types. So we've had empty nesters host before, because that they usually are actually really good host families because they have a lot of time on their hands to dedicate to the student. But we could take pretty much any host family that's willing to give room and board and provide for Bence or for whoever student we have. Is there
like a vetting process of some kind?
There is a vetting process. We do an in-home inspection and interview. We interview everybody that lives in the home to make sure everybody's on board with it. And we do background checks. during the hosting process, we check in with them at least once a month just to see how things are going. And as far as costs go, I think food is probably the biggest cost because you're feeding another person in your family.
Sure.
And then just if you're a host family, you're going out to dinner, typically would expect that you would pay for the student as well, because you would treat them like anybody else in your family.
But again, the cost to get the student here is covered by the Rotary. Is that correct?
Well, the cost to get a student here is, we cover a lot once they're here. We cover like cell phones and school lunches and school fees, yearbooks, things like that. We cover that as a Rotary Club. Okay. But the student's family covers the cost to send them out.
Okay.
Yeah. So if someone's coming here, like from Bence's, his family paid a fee over in Hungary.
Gotcha.
To get him prepared and ready to come.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we don't cover those expenses, but we do support him while he's here financially for a bit. We usually give our students $100 a month for spending money, and that's covered by our Rotary Club.
We'll repeat this information before we wrap up the interview, Toni, but if somebody's listening to this and just is really interested and wants to know how to get involved, how do they reach out? What's the contact information?
The best way to reach out would either be a phone call or email to me. We also have, my contact information is also on our website at sunprairierotary.org. But my phone number is 608-628-7306. My email is Toni with an I, Pabon, Pabon, #1 @gmail.com. Those are the best ways to get a hold of me. Otherwise, you can go on the website and find our youth exchange program there as well.
And what sort of, we're already in November, so what's kind of the deadline that we're looking for to make this happen?
Well, for the December family, obviously in the next 3 weeks would be very nice. Otherwise, we could look at possibly the third family, which would start in April. And we have time for that. But we're looking for someone that could step in and host Bence pretty quickly. The vetting process takes a couple weeks because we have to go through the background checks, the application process, the interviews. So that does take a couple weeks. But we can work fast and get people approved if everything's good.
And does the host family need to live in Sun Prairie?
Not necessarily, but if they don't live in Sun Prairie, they would have to find a way to get him to and from school.
Sure. I guess, we covered that, being in the district, correct? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Samara.
Yeah.
I haven't forgotten about you. So you are, you're the host family, or you're a member of the host family. You're not an entire family in and of yourself, to Bence, correct?
Correct.
And so how did you get involved in the program?
Well, it started way back in 1993 when I was in high school.
Okay.
And I did my youth exchange program kind of like Debbie's daughter, where it was my gap year. And I applied to be a Rotary exchange student to South Africa. Had the absolutely most amazing experience. And all of this time, I wanted to give back to a youth exchange student like I was given the experience in South Africa. And when I was there, I had 4 families. And like Debbie was saying, it adds so much to the experience. To each family is just a little bit different. And each family, I was devastated to leave. Absolutely devastated. Like tears, crying. Got to the next family and I fell in love with them again. And it just happened over and over and over again. And those families I'm still in relationships with.
Oh, great.
Last year we went back and visited them, and all my host brothers and host sisters, we still keep in contact. And it's just such an amazing experience. It's a lifelong experience.
We're talking 30 years.
We're talking 30 years.
Wow.
I know. It's our 30-year anniversary.
Wow.
And so it's pretty cool that we were able to welcome Bence at that 30-year anniversary. And I've always wanted to have an exchange student. And I thought, well, I need to wait until our situation is perfect. Until I have kids that are at the exchange student's age. And I don't know why it didn't occur to me that we could have hosted at any point. And until Bence arrived, it didn't really, it really made me aware that any family situation is such a wonderful experience for an exchange student. And when I was there, I lived with all sorts of different families. I lived with the empty nesters. I had young siblings. I had old siblings. I had no siblings, but they were in college and they came back to visit. So any family situation is the perfect situation to host an exchange student. It's just such a valuable experience.
And a little off topic, but why South Africa? What interested you about South Africa?
Well, when you're given the opportunity, you get to choose 3 countries.
Okay.
And so it was one of the 3, and it was the one that I was given.
Okay.
So I could either accept or reject. And it was such a cool experience because it was the year where they had their first free election, and Nelson Mandela.
Oh, very nice. Oh,
so
wow.
It worked out great.
Historic time.
Yes, for sure.
So we're a little bit cramped in here today because we have 4 people and we only have the three mics. So Bence, we didn't cover this before we went on air, but how's your English? Is it pretty good?
I think so.
Can I say something?
Yes,
It's
sure.
phenomenal. Your English is perfect.
So it's much better than when I came here. I think.
I think it sounds great. So what interested you about being, I want to say study abroad, but it's not really a study abroad program. What interested you in taking part in this program and coming over here to Wisconsin of all places?
So in the first place, my siblings were also exchange students.
Oh, okay.
Through Rotary. So it was kind of like a pathway, like that I have to be one. Like
It was in the blood. You had to.
yes.
Yeah.
So I didn't have 3 options to choose. I only had like one.
Okay.
So and I chose the US. And for us, it's in Hungary, it's kind of different because you either get the US or you get another country.
Okay.
There was I think 20 or 25 countries which I could possibly go, but I was lucky and I got US. So
Did you know where in US you'd be ending up? Or?
no.
Okay.
No, I didn't.
Okay. It's going to get cold here. I don't know what.
So I know.
Okay.
It was Bence's birthday yesterday.
Oh, happy belated birthday.
Long underwear. He got a pair of thick gloves, a pair of thin gloves. So he's set.
Excellent. Probably more said than I probably am. I guess I'll talk to both of you together. How has the experience been so far? You came over in August, Bence, is that correct?
Yes, on the 15th of August.
Okay. And is this your first time hosting, Samara?
And the experience has been so neat. And you think about when you have kids or you have grandkids that you get to see the world again through their eyes. And hosting an exchange student is like seeing our culture again through fresh eyes. And Bence will say something and I'll be like, well, why do we do that? That is so fascinating. It's been such a neat experience.
Yeah.
So it's seeing our culture again, which is really cool.
So, Bence, what has been some of the biggest challenges? What have you had to? What's been toughest to get used to? Or what's been the most exciting? Or what have you gotten out of this experience so far being here?
I like to go to school. That's pretty different, and that's just pretty good that I could choose my subjects.
Okay.
So
is that different from in Hungary?
Yes, because in Hungary everybody has the same subjects.
Okay.
So it's not possible to choose.
Is it hard to? I have a daughter who's roughly your age, goes to high school. Is it tough to fit in? As a new exchange student, or are people pretty welcoming?
We will be welcoming, I think.
Okay.
And I think the school is maybe a different, but also slightly easier here than in Hungary.
Okay.
So it's easy to keep up with the material and the school.
And how is living with Samara's family different than living with your family? What are some of the differences you've noticed?
So where I live is maybe more from a decent sized town.
Okay.
So that's different, and so there are way more people there, and we have a public transportation. So I use that, and I can go everywhere around the city. So here it's so I usually if I want to go there, I go with my host family. But so far it's pretty good, and.
What are some of the things, and either of you can answer, what are some of the things that you've been able to do, go experience that has been new for Bence?
So I've been to
Been to a Packer game or
the Badgers game.
Badgers game? Okay.
Yes. So like
Which-
we don't have football like in Hungary.
Who did they play when you went? Do you remember?
They played with.
He's looking at Debbie right now.
Yes, we went together, but I actually have.
Did they win that game? 'Cause
Yes.
They did win, yes.
they're not having a great year.
They're not, but they won the game Bence went
That's
to,
good.
so
That's good.
awesome.
Yeah. That's a great experience. I mean, we have.
Yes.
I'm a season ticket holder, so that's a fun experience for sure. What?
We went to the Northwoods of Wisconsin. We experienced that this summer
Okay.
for Labor Day. We went to a Bucks game, which I
Nice.
have never been to, so that was really fun.
That must have been recently because they just started.
Two women's volleyball games,
Nice.
and I loved
Yeah,
it.
so that
So
was pretty good.
that was fun. What else?
Have you been to any of the Sun Prairie football games at all, or?
He's been to so many Sun Prairie swim meets and volleyball games.
Okay.
So not football yet,
Yes.
but we'll get there.
So, what kind of advice would you have, Samara, for somebody who's looking to take this on? You know, who's thinking about being a host family? How can you help a potential family sort of mentally
Think if
prepare
it's
for this?
the right thing for your family.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think too much about it.
Okay.
I would just do it because it is such a cool experience. And right now I'm getting a little bit weepy thinking about Bence leaving. You talk.
But hosting is awesome. You know, we hosted a young lady from Germany, like I said, and everything Samara's experiencing now is the same thing that we did, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. And that's why we did it twice, my husband and I. Anna was 3 with Miriam when she first came, and she was more like 10 with our second student that we hosted. But Samara's right. You know, they just become part of your family, right? It's you know, so whatever you do as a family, you just include them.
Sure.
It's having, if you have children, it's having one more. Anna looked up to her so much when she was young. You know, she looked up to both of these youth exchange students. So the fact that she was younger was not a big deal. And my husband and I will host again, you know, now that Anna's at college and she's doing things. Unfortunately, right now is just not the time for us. But it is an experience that I think, like Samara said, everyone should do. It's just, you gain so much. Like I indicated earlier, we went to Germany. We keep in touch with them. Miriam's married. She's got 2 children now. We stay in touch with her. We stay in touch with her parents. It's just, you have those relationships, or you build those relationships, and it's so much easier with social media right now. You know, you can do WhatsApp, you can, you know, there's just so many ways to stay in touch. So if you want to send your child, it's easier to stay in touch with them also than it was when Samara went, when you had to write a letter and you couldn't call long distance because it costs too much money.
Right.
It really changes the experience, but it's just so wonderful. I really encourage anybody to reach out to Toni. Toni can get you in touch with me or anyone else in the club who's ever hosted a youth exchange student. It just really is a wonderful experience, and it is hard to see them go, and there's always tears. But what that means is you really connected with them, and you really enjoyed the experience, and it's just awesome.
And Toni, I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, but not only are you looking for host families, but are you also looking for Outbound students to participate in the Outbound program?
So our Outbound program, the application process starts early fall. So we're kind of late in the season right now, but we could still accept applications, I want to say probably through December. So if anyone is thinking last minute that they want to go out next fall, so 2024, August 2024, or even we also have winter exchanges where the student will leave in January. So like January 2025, they would apply, they could apply now for that year, for 2024 to 2025.
Is there a good year that you recommend?
So yes,
junior year? Or?
Junior or senior year would be better. We do take up to, you have to be at least 15 and a half by the time you depart.
Okay.
But we also find that typically 15 and a half year olds in August are usually pretty young and immature for many kids. So they have to go through an interview process. And if you don't display that you're ready for it, you may not make it through the interview process if you're on the younger side of things. The older you are, 17, 18 is probably a good year to go, like a good age to go out, because you've had enough experiences. You can make it on your own, per se, in another country, and you're just a little bit more prepared than if you were at 15.
Sure.
Not to say that we haven't sent 15-year-olds. We do. It's just not as many. So there is an interview process that the student would have to be able to pass and get through. And we're basically looking for maturity levels. And you also have to have somewhat of good grades. We're not taking anybody.
Interesting.
Grade point average, I think it's got to be at least a 2.7 or higher.
Okay.
Or if you're in the top 50% of your class. Either way. Because if you're not doing well grade-wise here, you're not going to do well abroad. So we're looking for kids that can do well in school.
And boy, I had a question. I was totally lost it. Oh, the question was, if I was a parent and I had a child who was interested in being an outbound student, is there any choice of where to go, or how does that work?
Our program, you get to prioritize your top 10 countries, and you can prioritize them in order. Like, here's my top country, and then go down the list. With Rotary, you don't necessarily get to choose your country and say, this is where I want to go, and this is the only place I'm going to go, because we don't work that way. You have to be kind of open to going to any country that's in your priority list. Most kids, I would say, probably get within their top 5. And so as long as you're okay with going in, within your top 5, as long as you're okay with one of those assignments, you're good to go. But you have to also be flexible. So we can't, if you're thinking, I only want to go to France, and you don't get France, this program's probably not the right one, one for you. You have to be open to going to other countries other than just one.
Okay.
And then we also have, just throwing in another plug here, we also have a summer exchange program called the Short-Term Exchange, which starts in the summer months, and the applications for that are due February 1st of 2024 for the 2024 summer. And with the short-term exchange, it's a family-to-family exchange. So with the short-term exchange, you actually get to pick your country, or get close to where you're wanting to go. And then what Rotary does is it goes and tries to find a family in that country that you want to go to. And for trying to find a family that also has a student that wants to come to the U.S.
Okay.
So we try to do a match that way. And then the student could go abroad for a month or so. It's usually 3 to 4 weeks. And then they come back and bring back their host sibling. And then some Prairie student would host a student for 3 to 4 weeks. So usually it's a month. It's like 2 months in the summer, and then they go home. And it could go either way. It's like the student could come here first and then go abroad for the second half. It just depends on how the families want to work it out.
And are you taking applications for that already, or are we a little bit early for that?
We could be taking applications for that now. It goes, the deadline for that application is February 1st.
Okay.
So anytime between now and February 1st, but the deadline is the 1st.
Okay.
And the cost for that is basically a plane ticket and a small application fee. So it's very affordable, and you get a 2-month experience. You get a hosting experience for a month and a month abroad. And the one thing is, there's no schooling in that one. It's during the summer months. You don't have to go to school. Okay. So it's a nice segue into the youth exchange program, because it's not a long-term commitment. But the requirement is that you would host the student you would bring back.
So if I'm a family that takes part in the summer exchange program, for example, can I then possibly take part in the school year, or is it sort of, there's a limit?
You can definitely host a long-term exchange student during the school year. Yes. Okay.
Bence, has there been any food that you've tried since you've been over here that you hadn't tried before, or restaurants, or we had a critter burger?
I've had plenty of cheese curds.
I have plenty of cheese curds.
Okay.
I really like that. I also tried the chili.
Okay.
Which is kind of like a different, like soup, I think. And that's also pretty good. Yes, but like most of the food which you have here, we also have it. So it's so not so, like, there are some foods which are different from Hungary, but we have most of them.
This is going to be a weird question, but I mean, are you enjoying this experience, or are you missing your family back home? Or I mean, I'd be curious a little bit from your perspective how this is going for you.
I'm enjoying this experience. So we had like an orientation where they talked about like how your emotions will change throughout the year.
Sure.
Like I don't know, like in January maybe we have like homesickness, and so you want to go home, but then you get through it.
Okay.
I don't know. So I haven't really experienced that, but so until now I'm enjoying my experience.
Okay, excellent. And did you know English before you came over?
Yes, I was studying English since third grade.
Yeah, your English is very good. Well, Toni, I guess we'll kind of wrap this up. So give everybody the information again, please, how they can get involved, how they can reach out for more information, or how they can learn more about being a host family.
Okay. So the information is on our website. It's at sunprairierotary.org. And if you are interested in going abroad or wanting to host, or you're interested in the summer program, you can contact me. Cell phone, text would be great, either or an email. My cell phone is 608-628-7306. And my email is Toni with an I, Pabon, Pabon, 1, @gmail.com.
All right. And just in general, Rotary Club here in Sun Prairie, are you looking for new members, or
We're always looking for new members, yes.
So if people were interested in just joining the Rotary Club, how would they?
So our Rotary Club meets every Tuesday morning at 7:15 at the Colonial Club, and we're there every Tuesday for the most part.
So I screwed this up by having you come in on a Tuesday.
Yeah, we're missing our.
I didn't even think of that. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It worked out fine. And we're you could just show up and see what it's all about. We do have a light breakfast, and we have speakers that come in every week and talk about really interesting subjects.
We work on projects.
Debbie's working on do you want to explain the project for Patrick Marsh?
Right now the club is organizing and working on a project out at Patrick Marsh. And it will be an educational piece component to it. It will have the viewing area. We love the Marsh area, and Bill Wambach was a member of the Rotary Club.
Sure.
So there's gonna be a story wall. He was also a surveyor, so there'll be a lot of different stories out there that people can read and learn and educate themselves. And it's right by the Patrick Marsh School. There'll be a meander corner out there, which is a surveying spot that can be used when doing plots of land and things like that. So it's going to be this big project. We've been working with the state and the DNR and Groundwell Conservancy to get this all underway. So it should come to fruition in the spring of 2024. So really looking forward to that. That's one of our big projects right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of great service groups here in Sun Prairie, and certainly Rotary is one of the best. So thanks for all you do for the community. Anything else that I didn't cover or didn't ask about, or anything else that we should get to before I let everybody go?
If anyone has any questions about being a host.
Could you turn your mic? Sorry, Samara.
If anyone has any questions about being a host parent and they're not truly ready to commit yet, feel free to reach out to me as well.
Okay.
I have had friends say, so when do you feel like comfortable enough to wear your pajamas around your exchange student? Like, does that ever happen? So just like little questions like that, I'm more than happy to chat about.
And how would somebody get a hold of you?
You can call me or email. My telephone number is 608-438-1303. And my email address is my first and last name, Samara Eisner @gmail.com.
Okay. Excellent. Well, Toni, Debbie, Samara, and Bence, thanks for being here this morning and, educating us a lot. I mean, I really was not aware that this program existed here with the Rotary Club. So I'm sure a lot of people are in the same boat that I was in. So thanks for turning us on to the program. It sounds like obviously a wonderful thing, and Bence's having a good time and going to a Badger game and eating cheese curds. So, what could be better? So thank you all for being here this morning.
Thank you for having us.